with anger and exclaimed 3 times, "Ka'b is lying." This is something Jewish he wants to interject into Islam. Allah is too majestic and noble to mete out punishments where there is obedience to him. How could he punish 2 servants,
these servants being the sun and the moon,
that are praised for constant obedience? May Allah curse that rabbi! How insolent is he toward Allah, and what a tremendous fabrication he has told about these obedient servants.
Mind you, he's having a tizzy fit because Muhammad had said that the sun and moon were
obedient servants,
meaning good Muslims. So if the rabbi deserved to be cursed for his story, what do you suppose would be the appropriate punishment for Muhammad and his pals? And before you answer, remember the souls of 1 billion people hang in the balance. Ask another way. If you were given a choice, would you trust your eternity to this messenger?
Ibn Abbas took a piece of wood and started to hit the ground with it. He did that for some time. Then lifting his head, he threw away the wood and said, "You want me to tell you what I heard the messenger say about the sun and the moon and the beginning of creation and how things went with them?" We said we would.
Islam's lone prophet, Allah's only messenger, the Quran's singular voice, is about to prove whether or not he's worthy of our trust.
When the messenger was asked about that, he replied, "When Allah was done with his creation and only Adam remained to be created, he created 2 suns from the light of his throne. His foreknowledge told him that he would efface one and change it to a moon. So the moon is smaller in size than the sun."
Islam's prophet, the Quran's source, was either deceived, lying, or delusional when he said the moon was a sun.
Muhammad continued, "If Allah had left the 2 suns as he created them, night would not have been distinguishable from day. A fasting person would not know when he must fast. A woman would not know how to reckon the period of her impurity. Muslims would not know the time of the pilgrimage. Allah was too concerned with his slaves to do such a thing."
Muhammad's hadith and Allah's Quran speak with the same voice.
Tabari. Allah thus sent Gabriel to drag his wing 3 times over the face of the moon, which at the time was a sun. He effaced its luminosity and left the light in it. This is what Allah means.
In Quran 17:12,
"We have blotted out the sign of the night, and we have made the sign of the day something to see by. The blackness you can see, as lines on the moon, is a trace of the blotting."
Not only was Muhammad's sunnah wrong, the prophet destroyed the credibility of Allah's Quran.
Tabari. Kawa asked Ali,
Caliph at the time,
"O Commander of the Faithful, what is that smudge in the moon?" Ali replied, "Don't you read the Quran? It says we have blotted out the sign of the night, effacing it. That smudge is a trace of the blotting."
Ali was right. The Quran says this very thing in Surah 17:12. That was bad. This is worse.
Allah then created for the sun a chariot with 360 handholds from the luminosity in the light of the throne, and entrusted 360 of the angels inhabiting the lower heaven with the sun and its chariot, each of them gripping one of those handholds. Allah also entrusted 360 angels with the moon.
I can see you shaking your heads. You must think I'm making this stuff up. There's no way a religion this stupid could have survived a week, much less 1,400 years, right? But I didn't, and it did. And in fact, one of the reasons I've given you so much of this is because of the way Muslims defend Islam's foolishness. They always accuse those with the courage to expose their scriptures of taking them out of context. So I have and will give you ample reason to rebuke such criticism. The more you know, the worse it gets. And by presenting Islam's creation account in such detail, I'm exposing you to the mindset of Muhammad, the originator of these stories. I want you to think about the character deficiency that would prompt someone to speak such lies in the name of God. More than anything, I want you to contemplate his motivations. Why would he tell his followers that Allah had conveyed such things to him? Why did Muhammad feel the need to present himself as an authority, as the authority? What did he want? What did he have to gain? Muhammad's suicidal act of self-incrimination continued with this.
Tabari. Then the prophet said, For the sun and the moon Allah created easts and wests on the two sides of the earth, and the two rims of heaven. There are 180 springs in the west of black clay. This is why Allah's word said, He found the sun setting in a muddy spring.
That becomes Quran 1886.
The black clay bubbles and boils like a pot when it boils furiously.
The 18th surah, aptly named
The Cave,
is the most foolish in the Quran. Muhammad's prophetic credentials were challenged in the wake of his satanic verses, so he was forced to reveal enlightened answers to a series of probing questions. Unfortunately, cut off from his Hadith and Jewish sources, the prophet's answers were particularly pathetic.